If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, joining me right now, coming off his big third-round TKO win over Andre Fialho 5 nights ago to kick off Season 2 of the Professional Fighters League. 8 wins in a row and one step closer to $1 million for Chris Curtis, who is joining us right now. Chris, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm living the dream. Feeling pretty good. No injuries, man. Just sitting back, enjoying a few days of lighter training before we hop back into it.
5 days removed. The goal hasn't been reached yet. You're not a millionaire like you plan to be, but a step forward has been taken. How does it feel after that great performance?
It's good, man. Wanted a second round finish. As I call it, second round. Got third round. He was a little bit tougher than I thought he was. But, I'll take it. It was still a good showing. Felt good. First fight with a new gym, new coach. Just got to do some of the things we worked on. There's a couple holes we can fix still, but I'm really happy with it.
We spoke a couple weeks before the fight, and, everyone knows you're supposed to fight Luis Taylor. We found out the commission wouldn't clear him to fight. So you go from the main event to the prelims. And on top of that, you talked about having your training camp in Vegas, and you're essentially going all in with this season, what you're doing right now with the PFL. You're putting it all on the line. And when you do that, and you do things like that, it can be a struggle in a lot of different ways, like financially, mentally, as a parent, being away from your kids, being away from everything that you're used to. We talked about in that last conversation, the last 10 months of your career being really this big adventure for you. And this training camp has been a big adventure for you as well. Talk about some of the things you've had to overcome in preparation for, just to fight for the PFL, just to get that first opportunity and then losing the opponent, getting the new one. Like, what has this been like for you?
It's the last 10 months, man, have been rough. Like, my life has completely changed in so many ways. Like, moving, new gym, end of a long-term relationship, it's been crazy. Getting to the fight, it's just been like, God, I can't even describe it. Like, the sheer, even if you just go by financially, it was such a strain getting through this, moving across the country, setting everything up, meeting my new coaches, finding out who's I work well with, who's got the stuff I need, finding my team, being away from my kids. I'm a 10-year, realistically, how old am I? 30? Like a 17+ year relationship came to an end. Like, it's been, it's getting here has taken a lot. And it's taken, a lot out of me, like physically, emotionally, mentally. But I got my first step in. I got my first win. And, at this point, he said, I got to go all in because I've given up too much to get here already.
So when you find out Luis Taylor isn't the guy, you handled it pretty well on Twitter because I had no idea what was going on, and nor did a lot of other people. But I reshared our interview, and a couple of people had been like, no, Luis Taylor's out. I'm like, what? And I was looking everywhere. I couldn't find it. And I remember texting you about it, and you jumped onto Twitter, and you were like, listen, new opponent, same goal. Has, the experiences you've had over the last 10 months, when you lose an opponent like Luis Taylor, he was a champion the last season. It was a guy you wanted to beat to really put a stamp on everything on the start of your PFL career. Has everything you've gone through in the past 10 months or so, has that just kind of prepared you for everything? Like, it didn't really make that big of a difference? This is like nothing compared to everything else you've gone through?
Honestly, it's exactly it, because I've had to do so much and had to give up so much to get here. I'm not going to let an opponent change, break me mentally. And after all the work I put in and just everything, like, an opponent change isn't going to be what breaks me. If it's the day before the fight and my guy gets switched, I'm still going to perform the same. I've given too much to be here. I'm too strong for that.
You've talked about the lessons you've learned along the way since the Contender Series win. This all has probably taught you a lot as well. You were already prepared for it anyways, but how much stronger has this all made you physically, mentally, spiritually, especially with what you just had to do for the first fight of the season? Like, you've had to overcome a lot, and even just an opponent change with everything you've gone through. You talked about how it didn't seem like that big of a deal in contrast to everything else, but, how much do you feel you've grown in all those aspects since all of this has gone down, the retirement, everything, to getting back to where you're at right now?
It's a lot, man. So I think one of the big things is I've kind of gotten back to a mentality I had when I was younger, to where, just head down working. Like when I was coming up, man, I was the first guy in the gym, last guy out. All I did was put my nose to the grindstone and work. And I've kind of had to adopt that again because of the PFL format. And 5 fights in 8 months that's a pretty grueling schedule. So in order for me to have to even be ready for that, I just got to work. And like with anything, once you put enough time in, enough energy and effort, the small stuff just doesn't matter anymore, man. So I have a goal, and I didn't sacrifice all of this, beat myself up and go through hell and back this camp to fight Lewis Taylor. I did this to win $1 million. So, it's not, like I said, only the names change, man. Like, I had a hard fight. It got changed. That's fine. I performed. Everything from this point on is going to be hard fights. So, it's not about the opponent. It's just about, the end results, making my $1 million.
Over the last few days since coming off the win, you've turned your attention to Ray Cooper III, who really got some notoriety last season after a bunch of vicious knockouts, made it to the championship fight, came up short, picked up mostly where he left off with another finish on Thursday. Out of all the welterweights right now, why Ray Cooper III? Why now?
I think honestly, it's first off, it's the most fun fight we can make. Like, PFL is still, to the second season. They're still trying to pick up viewers. And, I'm not going to diss anybody, but the main event we just had wasn't really a main event fight, if you will. So you want to get back in people's good graces, you want to give them something fun to watch. I think me and Ray Cooper are hands down the two most entertaining people to have up there. So like, that's a fight that, you can get casuals to tune in and watch. Like it would be freaking awesome. And, kind of earn back some of the good graces that may have been lost from the Kayla Harrison fight.
Has anyone told you anything in regards to this being your next fight? Like anything from Ray, PFL, your team, etc.? Like, have you gotten a gauge on how, I mean, how the fans feel about that fight. Everyone's all in to see you guys go, but has anybody filled you in on what direction they want to go with you? Is this the fight they're going to make?
No, I haven't heard anything back yet that I can officially disclose, but like realistically, my management, one of our guys, Lance, crunched the numbers. And, if I go by last season, there's like an 80% matchup between winners and winners. So just with the field and, like there's a lot of things behind the scenes, like who's managing who and all those things, probably have guys not wanting to fight each other. We've got a pretty good idea who I'm going to be fighting. Like, we can't discuss it yet, but I hope I get the Ray fight, but I don't think I'm going to. We've got a pretty good idea who I'm going to be fighting. Right. So we'll see. Like, it's interesting.
Okay. All right. I wasn't going to grill you on it, but I think I kind of figured it out, mid-sentence that it wasn't going to be Ray, but, yeah. I think that's an exciting fight. I mean, so you basically have a name at this point, but pen hasn't gone to paper. Is that fair to say? Yeah.
So we're just waiting for the confirmation, but I think it's pretty. We were like, well, was it this? And like everybody's been kind of mum about it. So it hasn't been officially confirmed, but we're like, if we were a betting man, we know who I'm fighting. We got a pretty good idea, so we'll see.
When do you expect this to be locked down? Do you have a date yet? At this point, I know things kind of fluctuate and bounce around a little bit. Do you have any of that information?
I have no idea when it's going to be when they're going to officially like tell us. So it was just waiting. At this point, we're just like, it's whatever. We've looked at all the winners so far, and we've got plans for everybody. What is it? Speak softly, but have a plan to kill everyone in the room. So we've got a plan for everybody. So it's just at this point, it's just staying in shape. This week is me kind of just relaxing, getting back into the gym. I sparred today, worked out yesterday, did some rolling this weekend. So I'm just getting ready and waiting for the official word.
kind of going back, looking at the winners and kind of listing them down, knowing that it's going to be more than likely 80% chance you're going to get one of these people. Did any of the winners impress you? Anybody stick out to you? I mean, I know Ray's on your radar just for the excitement factor, but are you looking at anybody else that really impressed you? Be like, that'd be fun. Or is Ray kind of the only guy that stuck out to you?
Ray. Ray didn't really stick out. Like his fight with Zayn was what it was. It was weird. Like I don't know, it was odd. But I know, I don't hold that against him. It's hard to make a fight when a guy doesn't want to, is trying to just avoid you. But I know me and Ray can, I'll stand in front of him. He'll stand in front of me, so that'll be fun. The Swedish Denzel? I can't remember his name. Whatever, Sid, whatever. His was interesting. It's hard to gauge because it was so quick, and I'm just like, it's so he's an unknown to me. We've looked at some films. That could be an interesting fight. The Russian is the Russian, so I mean, like, he went out and he did his Russian thing to where, gets on top of you and like just makes it miserable until people just give up and like or mess up and get guillotined. So he's a known commodity. You know what you're going to get out of him. So that's that could I don't know, but that's an interesting fight. Like, I don't know if it's the most exciting fight, but I know I can win that fight. I just don't know if it's the most exciting fight. God, who else won? What's his name? The Brazilian Henderson for what? He didn't look too bad actually. Not the fight I thought I was gonna see. It was weird, man. There's a lot of weirdness in this first round, but if it stood out to me, it was probably Swedish Denzel, the Russian, and Ray.
I like it, man. Obviously, your performance stuck out too. It had a lot of people talking. You talked about having a chip on your shoulder heading into this whole thing. You talked about how, now you have your own fight kits. You're not worried about the UFC or anything anymore. Did a part of your performance, did you feel like, you shouldn't have passed on me? Like, did some of that just kind of like creep out of you at all?
Seeing, like I said, I'm an internet guy. So seeing all of the responses online and everything, like, PFL's posting it and just the comments on it, it's great. Because, it's nothing's greater than when you see other, guys in the UFC and everywhere else, like, man, passing on you is the dumbest thing they've done in a while. Like, even fighters I don't know saying that to me, it's just acknowledgement of like, other guys who are there, or like, we know you should be there. And it's a good feeling. So it really was nice. Like, haha, a big fuck you to the UFC.
Who is the biggest name that reached out to you and said, man, the UFC made a mistake not signing you?
There's just a bunch of people, man. It's all over my Twitter and stuff. And it's just like, it's just a ton of people, but it's just between fans and fighters and everyone else. You got guys in UFC, you got guys in ONE, you got guys in Bellator. It's just, it's just kind of, it's all been a blur, but it's just nice to see.
That's awesome. Very impressive start to the season for you with that nasty TKO finish. The Action Man, Chris Curtis, joining us to recap. I hope you get that Ray Cooper fight. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but I think we'll get it at some point throughout this season.
My fingers hoping, man, because that's a fun fight, man, and like that's a fight people want to see. So I'm still crossing my fingers. Like, come on, guys, do it. Well,
I think your paths will cross at some point. That's the beauty of having a season play. Chances are both of you guys are moving on to the postseason. There just doesn't seem that there's a way that you guys won't fight. So, and that's the one that'll get the fans certainly fired up for sure. Chris, before we get out of here, man, anything else you want to get off your chest? Shout out sponsors, where to follow in the web, etc. Floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, guys, as always, you can find me on Facebook, Chris Curtis. Trying to work on my fan page more. I'm not the greatest on that. Sorry. I'm trying to get better. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ActionMan513. Hit me up anytime, man. Drop me a line. I'm always around. Big shout out to Syndicate MMA, John Wood, and all my teammates and coaches. Casey Halstead at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu for helping me, for being great for me. Norm Turner, my strength and conditioning coach, got me really, really ready for this. And just all my friends and family, and for the love and support, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Congratulations again on a fantastic performance, and best of luck moving forward. I'm sure we'll talk again.
Thanks, man. No problem at all. Thanks for having me. We'll talk again, I promise.